May- Maybe I'm looking to move. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. So, hi everyone. My name is Nicole Viano. I am located in Tucson, Arizona, and just moved here about a year and a half ago. I have two pathways that I'm contemplating at the moment in regards to my business. One of them, and I do them both at the same time right now. So I help midlife women go from being exhausted, flat, fatigued, and fragile to feeling energized and sexy strong. I do that. And then I also help nurses prevent burnout, mitigate burnout. So I have a few contracts with different hospital organizations, and I am a registered nurse as well. So I am I'm at the crossroads, what way do I go? I'm not sure. I'm having fun doing both things. And so maybe I am thinking either to combine the two or to just veer off. And so the future is yet to be told.
Yeah, that's true for probably many of us in the room. All right.
Right.
Thanks, Nicole. I do find it interesting that David's outside in beautiful weather and Nicole is indoors, I'm sure, because it's probably screaming hot in Tucson. So,
Yeah,
well,
it's almost 100 today.
almost 100. Oh man, I would be melting. All right. Well, I'm going to get started here with what I want to share with you all, and I really want to try to save as much time to chat at the end. So, my goal is to give you what I've been hearing is working in the last, I want to say year and a half. So really 2022 and 2023. 2021 was still sort of a weird time in the industry. So, um, I've been known to say, how your business runs when you're not there or around or present is really a telltale sign to how your business is performing. Because I think too many people think, oh, well, if I'm not there, then we're not making money or we're not training clients or, things are falling apart. And to me, the key is that you have built your business in such a way that it runs smoothly, even when no one is watching. Right. And so, are your clients being treated well? Are they being treated the way you would want them to? Are they being taken care of? Are results happening even if you're in the hospital or on vacation or wherever you happen to be? And so that's always a framework in terms of how I'm thinking. And that, of course, is more complicated if you're a solo entrepreneur, right? If you're like, wait, but nobody works for me. So if I'm not running the business, then sometimes you have to get more creative, right? What is your business doing while you're sleeping, and how are you supporting people in other ways besides just your active pursuits, right? I mean, how many videos can you put on YouTube and Facebook that can support people when you're sleeping? What sort of content can you send out? We've got Jay Croft of Prime Fit Content in here. Feel free to chat at him during the discussion here. I will mention you at some point, Jay. You are in the presentation, um, so foundationally, and Nicole, that was great that you're like, I'm not sure who I want to be when I grow up or exactly what direction I'm headed. David even mentioned retiring in the next 2 years. All of that is great, and many of us I know are changing. I know JC's on here, and she recently closed her studio and is sort of re-envisioning what her next steps are. So I think the key before you really do anything is to think about what's your passion. Who is it you really want to serve? Who do you want to be helping? And how do you stay focused on that and really dominate that and do that really, really well? And when I say dominate your path, what I really mean is help more people get results, but also help you be really satisfied with your purpose, right? I mean, like, could I train college athletes? I totally could, and I'm sure I could go back to that, but it's not my passion. It's not my purpose. And I wouldn't really enjoy that. So my goal is not just for you to be working more, but for you to really find your passion and your purpose. And then my hope is that you're going to be able to improve your productivity. By the end of today, I'd like you to dial in your productivity so you're more productive, more targeted, less distracted. It's really easy. And Nicole, I've kind of seen some of this in what you've been posting and putting out. It's sort of like, well, I could do this and I could do that. And yeah, and sometimes we have to really decide what is it I'm most passionate about? What is my purpose, right? Because there's so many different directions we can go, and then we can wind up getting distracted. So one of my hopes is that you really can dial into what your gift is and what your zone of genius is, and where is it that you operate the best, right? And who is it you really want to serve? So I also try to tell people you are unique. There's probably one thing that you do better than just about anyone else in your market. Are there other personal trainers in your market? Sure. Are there other people that, serve nurses? Nicole, of course. But what is it that you do really well? What problem do you solve? Who's going to bed tonight? Jay, I can see you on camera at the moment. I'll be scrolling through cameras, but there are fitness owners, personal trainers, studios that are going to bed tonight, and they have a problem that you solve, but they either don't know you exist or don't know they should hire you, right? And so we have to think about, all of us have to think about, what problem do we solve for someone who's, whether it's weight loss, joint pain, feeling better, moving better, in your case, Jay, fitness marketing more effectively, essentially while you're sleeping, right? I can program up, and I'm seeing your emails more and more, Jay. I'm like, wait a minute, that looks like Jay Croft's content. So what problem do you solve, right? And then how can we make sure we're getting in front of those people? So I mean, Jay does one thing, and he does it better, in my opinion, than anyone else, right? He creates done for you email marketing that markets to, people over 50. He has an advantage that he's over 50 and he's a professional writer and he knows this stuff and does it really well. Is he going to write better than the average trainer? Yes. Is he going to certainly know the market better than a trainer in their 30s and 40s who can't even relate to it? Of course. So I want you to be thinking about that. The other thing, went too fast there, is what's your big, hairy, scary, audacious goal? Because I think a lot of times we don't think big enough. David already shared they did about $500,000 last year, right? Okay. So what's your really big goal, David, right? Like, are you guys really getting serious about pushing to 700 this year? Or are you thinking, well, we could probably do 550 this year or 600? That's not really a big goal. That's just sort of the next step. But a big goal might be 750, even 800,000, and especially stepping into the fact that you're losing staff, right? So Nicole, a really big goal has got to be something that scares you a little bit, intimidates you a little bit, and makes you almost feel like, I don't even know if it's reachable. And here's the thing with a really big goal, David, I fully believe that you and Sean can be doing 800 grand a year. But if you fail and you only hit 720, I'm guessing you'll probably be pretty thrilled with that, right? At the end of the year, you'll be like, holy cow, we went from 500 to 720. So it's okay to have a really big goal and then fall just a little bit short, but big goals force us to stretch a little. And then we have to ask the question, what are we willing to do to achieve it, right? Are we willing to put in the extra work? Are we willing to hire a coach? Are we willing to hire someone like Jay Croft to help us with our email marketing? Are we willing to really do all the things we need to do, right? Because our goal is big. I continue to see all across Fit Body Forever, Ageless Fitness, Alloy, Activate Brain and Body, Still Got It Fitness. There's a new one in California. I think it's Q4. There are new franchises popping up. And guess what they all have in common? They are all going after boomer women. They're all, and they say it in different ways, right? Like, oh, we focus on women 55 plus. Nicole's cat is in the room. All right. So this continues, I think, to be the most dominant consumer. Huge opportunity here. And for sure, someone you should be thinking about. And if you're not sure how to communicate to them, that's something you need to get better at, right? How do we put up Facebook posts that attract them? What sort of videos do they want to see? What sort of recipes do they want to see? Recipes, absolutely, they want to see. What sort of content? How do we sell to them? How do we communicate to them? How do we understand them? So I'm going to give you some insights from a website that doesn't even exist anymore. vibrantnation.com used to study women 50 plus, and they were basically around, I think they shut down about 3 years ago. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with COVID. I think it was just prior to COVID, actually. But pretty interesting insights. Women 50 plus are twice as likely to select brands based on personal needs as they were in their 20s and 30s. They're 4 times less likely to focus on needs of others. It's almost backwards sometimes of what we think about women. It's like, wow, they're actually far more selfish than we would have guessed. They're 6 times more likely to make purchase decisions based on their personal values. Their top external influencer is women like me. That is huge. And we have to remember that. Wait a minute, their top external influencer is women like me. So you need to have women like them in your Facebook posts, in your email blasts, in your testimonials, in your images, in your videos, right? You don't need to have some super buff, fit 25-year-old male or female trainer, because that's not a person like them. They want to see women like them where they go, oh, I identify with that person. That will influence them. Women 50 plus are deciding where to travel. And in most cases, they want to do travel sightseeing with some sort of moderate physical activity. They're not necessarily looking for, a summit Mount Kilimanjaro type of experience, but they do want to do stuff, right? And so they want to take trips like Galapagos Islands and Antarctica and Alaska cruises. And if they go on a Mediterranean cruise, they don't want to stay on the ship. They want to get out and explore and do things. So they are still the fastest growing population on Facebook. Facebook gets a lot of negative chatter these days, but women over 55 are there, and they definitely can be marketed to both through ads, organic, boosted posts, videos for $1, lots of different ways. We'll talk a little bit about that. I do want you to be thinking about, and you might even be thinking right now, oh yeah, Dan's right. My absolute best client is a 62-year-old woman. Who are your value endorsers? So a value endorser is the most actualized or most matured boomer female. This is the about 15%. So around 1 in 8, 1 in 7 have actually moved to this level. And this is where they endorse things they really believe in, right? These are the women that would say, well, Rocky, everyone should be training with you. You're the absolute best thing since sliced bread. I don't know why everyone doesn't come here. And of course, you're like, well, introduce me to all your friends, please. Why don't you tell them this, right? Most of our clients aren't in that category, right? They're not like our champions. They're not like saying, hey, everyone should do this. I have to tell my physician and my chiropractor. But when you hear one of those clients, you want to leverage that, right? You want to figure out, how can I tap into their network? How can I get introduced to their tennis club, their accountant, their estate attorney? I want everyone that they're going to endorse me with, right? Jay, I'm imagining if you had 10 fitness owners. Now, not all your fitness owners are baby boomer women, but I'm imagining if you had 10 fitness owners, you probably have 1 or 2 that are just like, Jay's stuff is the best, right? You absolutely should use it. It totally so. Those are the people I'm talking about, right? They endorse you. They absolutely value you. So if you have these women as clients, leverage the heck out of their desire to endorse you, right? Like they want to go to their physician and tell their physician about you, right? The simplicity seekers, they don't really care to tell anybody about you. They're not looking to endorse you or refer you. You are a problem solver for them. You make their life simpler, better, easier. They know if they work out with you, everything in life is easier. So to get referrals from them, we have to figure out how we can tap into that mentality of, hey, what sort of friends do you have that are struggling with hip pain, knee pain, whatever it was, maybe they were coming in that you've kind of simplified their life? Because they're not leaving your studios and going, boy, I got to go tell all my friends. No, it's sort of like their caterer. They probably don't tell anyone about their caterer, right? Their caterer is like their secret weapon, right? They throw the best parties because they have the best caterer, and they don't tell anybody about their caterer, right? So simplicity seekers are great clients, but they're not always great referrers. And then self-interested spenders are about 50% of women over 50, which is great. They're spending money for fitness in most cases because their self-interest is personal independence, feeling better, moving better, maintaining their own health, right? But again, it's for their own self-interest. If you run into other pleasers, it's only 2%. I don't know if you can see that clearly. These are basically women that have not matured, right? They're still in this stage of life where they're doing things for, in some cases, maybe they're still raising children because they had children late in life. Maybe they're taking care of their parents. They've sort of gotten stuck. They haven't gotten to that stage of life where they're doing things for themselves. Self-interested spenders, messages you want to avoid. And I keep seeing people with the whole 50s the new 30 and 60s the new 30. And I'm not a huge fan of that stuff. You're sort of reminding people that they're not young anymore, right? Like 50 is somehow bad. I don't think you need to do that. So I would recommend avoiding that. 8 out of 10 experts recommend. Tell you what, women in their 50s and 60s don't really care what the experts say. They're like, I've heard enough of that over my lifetime. So avoid that stuff. Use visuals of women like them that would influence them, right? You don't need to say stuff like they'll love you for it. That doesn't even, it's not congruent, right? They're doing it for themselves. They're self-interested spenders. So we want to motivate them for their self-interest, and definitely avoid visuals of older men with younger women. That's probably only going to work with a select few older men who you probably don't even want as clients. Maybe some of them, but you don't want, you definitely don't want to put that out in front of women. Messages that do work. I think anything that is empowerment language towards women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s really, really works, right? You know what you want. You deserve to have your needs and interests taken seriously. You don't care what others think of your decisions. Like, you can almost overcome the spouse objection because the spouse doesn't matter, right? It's like you're doing this because you care about your health, your fitness, your vitality, your independence, your future, your longevity, whatever it happens to be, right? You've earned the right to your opinion. Grandmothers tend to be in this market, right? Most women over the age of 60 have entered the grandmother stage, or they're about to. And that aspect, I think we make a mistake sometimes. We think, oh, they want to do it for the grandkids. Again, they're doing it for themselves, right? They're doing it because they want to be a good grandmother, an energetic grandmother, a youthful grandmother, an engaged grandmother. But that's all about my own identity, right? It's about me, their self-interest, right? They want to be able to do stuff with their grandkids. Couples, they want to be able to continue to travel, do stuff, play tennis, play golf, take up pickleball. My goodness, that's become the phenomenon. I left high school I graduated high school in 93. And I honestly didn't think I would ever see pickleball again. We played pickleball every year in Illinois, and it was quite intense. And it's comical to me now to see all these couples playing pickleball, because I remember, the big controversy was always which co-ed you were going to land for the high school tournament. It's like, oh, you landed Kristen. How did you get Kristen as your partner? Right? It's like a whole different dating game when it came to the pickleball tournament in high school. And here we are, full circle 30 years later. Pickleball is the rage, and I don't know what the next sport or activity will be, but couples want to keep doing stuff together, obviously. So this is a more age appropriate image. Remember, I warned you about older men with younger women. We're seeing an explosion of this category. I am hearing this all over the country and Canada as well. This fit butt category, I think really coming out of COVID, we saw this, right? People stopped going to their health club. People stopped going to their personal training studio. In some cases, their place might have been closed for 6 months. So they got out of the habit. They have a history of fitness, but I'm 66 now, and I don't think I can do crazy anymore. I certainly can't do anything that might hurt me. And I don't want to take risks with my health when it comes to fitness, but I want to be fit. So there's a balance of safety, health. You're not going to hurt me. I want you to push me hard. Don't treat me like I'm old, but don't forget that I'm 65, right? And like, I can't afford to mess up my shoulder again, or I can't afford to hurt my knee replacement, or I can't afford, right? So there's a balance of, do you really know what you're doing? And I think this is a huge opportunity for everyone here in this room, is that if we listen to clients and listen to them well, and we understand their needs, and we're kind enough and compassionate enough to not just be so focused on crushing people, this mentality of, oh yeah, our workouts are going to kill you. I think this demographic is saying, I don't really want to be killed. I'd like to come out of my workout, feeling better and more alive, and not like I've been destroyed, So I think sometimes we have to be careful of how we present our programs, right? So this is a really big opportunity. I think we're seeing grow a lot post-COVID. People are realizing I have a fitness history, but I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get injured. And then the unfit and the unhealthy, this continues to be kind of a passion of mine, because I don't think they have a place or a home anywhere really in what the fitness industry is doing. In fact, I saw John Goodman post about how, there's such a small percentage of people that are fit, and we're all going after the same population. And I tend to argue, honestly, I think there's a huge opportunity to go after people that aren't interested in fitness at all. In fact, don't even fit the fitness world, right? I mean, Joanne here was unfit, unhealthy. Oh, by the way, she's 80 years old, got Parkinson's disease, a couple knee replacements, triple bypass surgery, and can barely walk a block, right? She's not a fitness person at all. She's definitely not in the fit butt category. She's in the not fit, not healthy. What are you doing at my gym, right? Get out of here, lady. You don't belong. But she wanted to go to the Galapagos Islands. She didn't believe she still could. And she sits down with me and I'm like, well, let's break it down, Joanne. What do you have to be able to do? She's like, well, I got to be able to get in and out of one of those Zodiac boats like the Navy SEALs do, right? You can see it behind her there. I got to be able to navigate a beach. It's wet, it's sandy, it's rocky, it's uneven. I got to be able to walk about a mile, and the trails aren't paved, right? They're not terribly rugged, but they're also not ADA friendly, right? I said, well, that doesn't really sound that terribly demanding, Joanne. I think we could probably train you to do that. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I honestly don't know that. I mean, she can barely walk a block now. I'm not sure, but I am confident if she trains with us for 6 months, we'll change her life regardless of whether she goes on this trip, right? So I said, Joanne, if you're willing to give us 3 to 4 times a week and give us everything you've got for 6 months, I think you can do it. And in 6 months, 7 months, she booked the trip about 6, 7 months later, and she went. And the cool part about this story is I don't think Joanne was ever that interested in fitness. I know she wasn't that excited about working out or showing up to the gym, but we couldn't get her to quit. She trained with us till she was 87 years old, and I know we changed her 80s. There's no doubt about it, because when she first came to us, I mean, the average fitness center would have been like, I have no idea what we're going to do with this lady who can barely walk in the door with a cane, right? She thinks she can go to the Galapagos Islands. She's crazy, right? Well, there's plenty of people in this age demographic. Most of them are going to be over 70, 75. Sadly, there are a lot of people in their 60s in this category as well. So there's a big opportunity. So I told you we'd come back to this. This I think is foundational and critical. And the people that have dialed this in better and better and better, what they find is people all of a sudden feel like you're everywhere, right? So like this is a really good, and I don't know everyone in the room here just yet, but Nicole, I know what you're sort of struggling with. If you can really dial in this avatar, all of a sudden they will feel like you're everywhere, right? Because if you're popping up where they live, eat, sleep, play, worship, volunteer, work, get their coffee, it's like, right? Maybe it's where they get their continuing education. There's so many different places. All of a sudden it feels like you're everywhere. You're not everywhere. You're just everywhere that your avatar happens to be, right? And so if you haven't done this, take a screenshot of this. And I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with you. If you just want to email me, I'll send it over, no problem. Name them, right? To me, it's Terry. She's married, 62, 3 kids, 3 grandkids. She's a retired professional. She was a speech pathologist. She lives in University Farms or Winding Creek. She probably is part of the First United Methodist Church out. No, she would be part of St. Andrew's United Methodist Church. Actually, I've had clients at First United Methodist and St. Andrew's Methodist. They're both on like 5 minutes either side of my studio, spa, Christina's, and what's the other one? Tangles and Bangs. And we trained both of their staff. Christina's, we actually trained the owner for about 4 years. So spa, hair salon. You should know the high-end hair salons where women in their 50s and 60s are going, especially obviously the ones that do nails and, you know, manicures and pedicures and all that sort of stuff. I will always get in a fight with some woman in the room over this, but I will say having your hair cut as a woman is essential. Doesn't really tell me whether you have the money for fitness or not. Having your nails done, manicures and pedicures, I'm going to say is not essential. There's always a woman who will say, well, of course it's essential. Right. And if you say that, then I know you're a great potential customer for me, right? Because if you're saying having a manicure, pedicure is essential, then I also know you have the funds and the means to afford fitness. So you definitely want to know the high-end manicurists, pedicurists, those high-end salons, massage therapists, chiropractors, their hobbies, their charities, their passions. They're vets, they're physicians, they're physical therapists, they're restaurants. I didn't know this when I was young. I moved here in 2002. I was 27 years old. I did not know until Bev educated me, and Bev is a baby boomer female. She educated me. There's only one restaurant in town that's fit to eat in. I didn't know that, right? In fact, Jay and JC, I think I've taken you guys there. Bistro 501 is the French bistro in downtown Lafayette. And if I hadn't met Bev, I wouldn't have known. There's no other restaurant fit to eat in this town, right? You got to go to Indianapolis to get a good meal outside of Bistro 501. So you need to know that kind of stuff, right? Because if I had given Bev a gift card to, you know, McGraw's Steakhouse, should have been like, what am I going to do with this? Right? I'm not going to go to that steakhouse. That place doesn't, right? I would have made a big mistake. So their dreams, obviously coffee shops, Chico's, boutique clothing stores. We trained the manager at Chico's. That was a great relationship for us. So really dial in your avatar, helps with everything else that you do. And then based on that, keep it simple, right? You're thinking, okay, this is the person. It's Sue. She's this age. This is where she goes. So then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to go meet the manager of this nail salon, this hair salon. I gotta get to know the pedicure person. I got to get to know the massage therapist, right? One contact at a time. Okay. When I say you need to build an email list of 500, I'm not saying you're going to go do that all at once, right? Do it one contact at a time. Does email marketing work? People are always like, well, I don't know. Look, I had 15 or 16 people on Friday. We had 21 registered for tonight. There's 14 of you on here live. I have an email list of 1,800 for this. I got 30 people in 2 meetings. If you have an email list of 1,800, you could probably create an event where you're going to give your 5 tips to knee pain or your 3 tips to weight loss over 50 or whatever it is. And I bet you could get 20 or 30 people in a free meeting just like this. So it absolutely does work. So you've got to be building your list. Time and time again, everything comes down to your list. Your mailing list, your email list, your Facebook list, your Facebook followers, your YouTube subscribers, your texting list. They're all lists, right? You got to be building these lists. Facebook, the challenge with Facebook is you can build a following of 1,000 people on Facebook. You don't own that list. Facebook does. And Facebook doesn't have to let anybody see what you post. So you want to get emails, phone numbers, ability to text people. Otherwise, Facebook is going to force you to pay. In fact, the bigger the audience you build on Facebook, in a lot of cases, the more they're going to make you pay, right? Oh, you built a following of 2,000? Great. We'll show it to 100 people unless you pay a few dollars. So just keep that in mind. You can build your list so many different ways. I really do like video, YouTube and Facebook video, because again, if you're going after boomer women, they want to see women like themselves. Start interviewing your female clients who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Get them on your YouTube channel, get them on your Facebook channel, get those videos out there. Marion, I still like sharing this story because if there's anybody in here that's feeling burnt out, I want to get on the phone with you or a Zoom one-on-one with you. She came to our first summit in 2015. I guess that's 8 years ago. We're having the 9th annual here. So I don't know how that math works, but maybe that's 9 years ago. I don't know. Feels like 8 years ago, but she came to our first ever business coaching day. We hadn't even launched our mastermind yet. She wound up attending 2 more mastermind meetings after that. She was totally burnt out, and I'm guessing somebody on this call is burnt out. She was doing like 12-hour days and just chasing her tail and chasing clients here and going to clients' homes and training out of this studio and just all over the place, right? And she was like, well, if I could just get 4 or 5 more clients, I'll be making it. I was like, if you just get 4 or 5 more clients, you'll be dead, right? Like, you're going to kill yourself. You cannot do more of this. You have to do less. And of course, she couldn't possibly visualize how she could do less because everything I'm doing is, dollars for hours. And if I train just a few more clients, I can finally make it. And I'm like, no, I think we got to do the complete opposite. And we realized she'd been doing this for almost 10 years. She'd been burnt out for about the last 2. And in fact, I think some of her clients, she was probably going to kill or worse, right? I mean, it was like you're not enjoying your passion anymore or your purpose. But she had a big list. She built more through Facebook, and in less than a year of that coaching, she opened her own studio, and she was absolutely thriving. COVID, I think, put a pretty big damper on her studio, but she's still doing well. She's in the Vancouver suburbs in Canada. But she had a list, and that was key. And then she built a lot more through Facebook. And back in 2016, it was pretty easy to build a list through Facebook. But she had to change. The moral of the story was you can't do more of the same that's not working, right? So I don't want you to feel like, oh, if I just work a little bit harder, like that's not going to be the solution if you're already working too hard, right? Now, if you're sitting on here, like David in the sunshine and, you're hardly working, David, I know, is working pretty hard. But if you feel like you're not doing enough, then that's a different scenario. But I know a lot of you are working too hard for too little reward. And so my challenge to you is to just remind you of Marion, because she was like, if I just get a few more clients. And I was like, no. I don't want you to get a few more clients. I need you to change what you're doing because you're totally burnt out. In fact, she cut her hours almost in half and her pay almost doubled. Because what she did was she opened a studio and quickly had 50 clients and was doing over 10,000 a month, and she wasn't traveling all over the place. So her situation really changed. So, all right, we're almost done. So I want you guys to be thinking about what your problem is. We're gonna give a few minutes for each of you to share, and I'll try to give you some advice. Build your list every which way possible. I think people get too technology focused, right? They're like, oh, I got to run Facebook ads. Well, if you can figure out Facebook ads, great. They definitely work. You can also hire a company to do your Facebook ads. And if you want some leads, I've got a couple that I've used over the years. Keep Booked is going to be at the Functional Aging Summit. Highly recommend them. I mean, their goal is to keep you the name of their company, Keep Booked. They guarantee to keep you booked with sales consultations, running Facebook ads for you. But you can build your list offline so many different ways, right? Again, you got to know where your avatar eats, lives, works, and plays. And you got to start showing up there. You got to put in the time, right? I shared this with somebody earlier today who was on a coaching call with me, and she was like, well, my couple of my best clients just they referred me, or tried to refer me a couple of people, and they didn't want to train with me. And I was like, well, that's really not how this works, right? Sometimes we forget. Like, I mean, David, you're a phenomenal trainer, but your absolute best client, I hate to tell you, they just might not have that many friends in your market that are good candidates to train with you. So they're not a good referral source, right? In fact, their best friend might live somewhere else, right? I mean, some of my best friends are not fitness entrepreneurs, so I can't refer them to Jay Croft for fitness marketing, right? I mean, so it's like, great. So the reality is you want to be showing up where they eat, live, work, and play, right? Which is why a guy like Jay Croft should show up at the Functional Aging Summit where there's 200 fitness studio people, right? I mean, David, if your best client isn't referring you people, that's okay. Figure out what groups they're a part of, right? Whether it's the Rotary or the Chamber or some networking event or Breakfast Optimist Club or charity board they're on, or, and just start putting in the time showing up there, right? And you got to build relationships. That's the other thing I think we underestimate is, look, just because you have a friend or a neighbor or someone you might refer, they don't have any interest in training, right? They're like, it's really nice that Bob trains with you, but I don't have any interest in fitness. But maybe 6 months from now they will, right? So if you put in the time showing up at Rotary or Kiwanis or whatever the organization happens to be, right? Now you're the know, like, and trust you person, right? So sometimes we just think snap your fingers and people are going to refer and magically become clients, and it takes time. So you got to build the social capital, right? The Functional Aging Institute, we built in 10 years primarily on social capital. Cody and I leveraging the relationships we built in the industry years prior to Functional Aging Institute and ongoing, right? Speaking at people's conferences for free, meeting other speakers, who wants to speak, who wants to do webinars for us. I mean, just leveraging all the different referral partners that you have. And this is where I say to fitness owners, you got to get out of your own business and go meet accountants and lawyers and, not just, we get so focused on, well, if I just could get a chiropractor or a physical therapist to refer to me, right? I'm like, well, what about a wedding photographer or a florist? Or, to start thinking about other business owners. I have gotten tremendous referrals from my State Farm home insurance agent. I built a relationship with Trent Johnson. Trent is my agent. He has referred me probably 4 clients over the last several years, and really good clients. My business insurance agent, same thing, gotten referrals from my business insurance agent, but I've built relationships with those guys. So they know what we do. They know, like, and trust us. So how many business owners do you know? You should know a bunch, and it shouldn't just be allied health, right? Don't be that small business owner that's just on an island. Get to know other business owners. That's really, really helpful. I mean, I've had business owners send out emails for me. A local bakery sent out an email for a free 21-day fitness challenge. Doesn't hurt their list, right? They're like, oh, that's cool. We're giving away a free 21-day fitness challenge during the month of November during Thanksgiving, right? And they put that in their, Thanksgiving specials for November. So lots of different ways you can get creative there. Publish a book through us. Oh man, got so many of these we've done. If you can see me, that's Lisa's, that's Dorian's. I mean, we've done, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 60 of these. These are super effective. Really, really strong tool. Build your list offline. Coffee and Conversations, Beth Pelton. I mean, this is a clever idea, right? Like, just literally have a coffee house at your studio, and the topic can be, they would do a book club, they would do Enneagram personality inventory, they'd do essential oils, they might have a physical therapist in. I mean, quilting, painting, doesn't even matter, right? The topic could be anything, all over the place. And of course, you get your clients to invite their friends to coffee and conversation afternoon or evening, seminars, lunch and learns, create an event and make yourself the keynote speaker. There's lots of different ways. Fundraising parties. Ultimate Pink Party was our best event. I think we did it 10 times in about 13 years. And my joke was always, if you let, and it was normally, I think, on a Friday night. So the women would start drinking, I mean, immediately at 5, right? I mean, they would show up at 5, the bar was open, dinner wasn't till 6:30. So from 5 to 6:30, it was vendor time and drink time. And it was amazing how many people were drunk by the time dinner happened. And then coming out of dinner, they were definitely drunk. And it's a lot easier to get people's names and emails when they're 4 or 5 drinks in, right? They're like, wait, what am I signing up for? Like, you are signing up for the ultimate fitness transformation. Sounds great. We would come away with 50 to 80 names and emails. Of course, Monday, they would be like, how'd you get my email? You gave it to me on Friday. Don't you remember? Super great event. Breast cancer. It was always in October. Breast cancer fundraiser, supporting women that had breast cancer in the community. Caregivers event was our second best event. $25 to have a table at a caregivers event. It's kind of a pattern interrupt, right? Because who's going to a caregivers event? Well, mostly people in their 50s and 60s looking for caregivers for their aging parents. And then they show up to you and they're like, I don't think mom or dad can work out. Yeah, maybe not. But how would you like a free month of fitness for you? Right. And then they're like, yeah, I probably need to do something because I don't want to turn out like mom or dad and have someone looking for a caregiver for me in 25 years. It was $25 for us to have a table, and we usually came away with 40 or 50 leads. Purdue University ran it. So you kind of have to look for these events in your community. There are so many different ones where you can show up. Rosa, I don't know if I have her book handy here. She published the book and it transformed her business. She went from 40 clients and should I close my studio? Like, her husband's basically like, Rosa, you probably would make more money at McDonald's. I hate to say it. And those aren't really fun conversations. She doubled to about 90 clients and then went well beyond 100. So, all right, let's get to your questions, comments, challenges. If you don't have an email system, you should. It's really hard to use. I told you, Jay, you were going to be in this, but it's really hard to use done for you email content from a guy like Prime Fit Marketing, Jay Croft, if you don't have an email platform like Fit Pro Newsletter, Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp. A MailChimp, I think, is free up to 250 contacts. ConvertKit is another one. And your email lists need to be somewhat organized. Do they have to be massively organized? No, but people are like, well, I don't want to email too much. Well, look, if they're your clients already, emailing them once a week is probably sufficient. Just don't email them special offers because they're already a client. If they're former clients, you should be pursuing them to get them back, figure out what it takes to get them back. If they're suspects or prospects, can you email them too much? Maybe, but at the end of the day, if they get off your email list, it's not the end of the world. And if you're not emailing them at minimum once a week, but honestly, if you're not emailing them twice a week, you must really either not like helping people or you just hate money. It's one of the two, right? Like you don't want any more money or you just don't want to help any more people because you've got to put stuff out to prospects to encourage them to come try you, right? Whether it's, and keep it really simple. I again, on this private coaching call earlier today, I said, did you have a client this week that you solved a problem for? And immediately she's like, oh yeah, I have this 76-year-old client who, she starts rattling all this off. I'm like, that's an email. Write that into an email, right? I train, you don't have to use her name, but I trained this client. She's in her 70s and now she's able to do this, this, and this. She was telling me, right? Send that email out. And then, hey, if you're in your 70s and you'd like to be my next client just like this, let me know, right? Sometimes we overthink email. It can be as simple as, hey, would you like to join me for a free mastermind, right? It can be, how could I help you? Are you ready to start today? One of the simpler emails is, are you ready to start now? That's it. Nothing more. And then, of course, you can get way more involved by, hiring, again, someone like Jay Croft with Prime Fit Marketing, where Prime Fit Content, where you've got really nice done for you pieces that you can send out regularly. So if you're not in our Facebook group, please get in it. I'd love for you guys to comment on tonight's session. If you don't get to ask a question tonight, that's a great place to post it so other people can comment. If you have no idea where the Facebook group is, email me. I'll send you the link. We've got a free Facebook group. There's about 200 business owners in it. All right, let's stop the screen share here and we'll open it up to you guys. So we're going to have a hard stop here in about 35 minutes because I'm hosting Evan Osar on a live webinar at 8 o'clock. So we will stop pretty quickly at 7:55. Anybody want to jump on first and ask sort of their burning question as my teenager is texting me, what's for dinner? Isn't that hilarious? So classic. And if you don't want to be on camera or even speak, you can type it in the chat. That's fine too. So anybody want to go first? Anybody have a pressing challenge? Susan, go ahead.
Right. Well, I don't know what the division is of people on this call who have facilities or versus being like sole practitioner or somewhere in between, but I'm a sole practitioner who moved about a year and a half ago to a new place. So I'm building a network all over again. And I'm heartened to find that I'm doing a lot. I've been working with this population for a long time, so I'm sending the right messages, I think. I think if you were to look at my website, you would see that I get the population. That's not so much an issue. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about things like go where your avatar is going, like some of the places you've talked about developing relationships. And I know it's one thing to have trained the owner of, or somebody who is a hairstylist to the wealthy neighborhood, or and I'm just wondering, like, how you might treat a cold uh contact that you think would be good for you, or I'm just looking for stories of people who identified these kinds of locations and didn't have a contact or didn't have a relationship already. And I've gone to massage therapists so that I can develop a relationship with them before, and same with physical therapists, and all of that takes time and money. But I know there are other, like some of the kinds of places that are not allied health professionals that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Spas. And, yeah. Can you talk, you kind of understand the nature of the
Yep.
question?
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like networking 101. How do I get started? And what I usually tell people is you have to be willing to have a lot of doors shut in your face, and you have to be willing to take a lot of no's, and that can be pretty painful, right? Paolo was on Friday, and when I talked about this, I can already see him just sort of, shrinking out of his chair, right? Because he just literally cannot take rejection whatsoever, right? He's like, I got to go meet 5 physical therapists, and 4 of them are going to say no to me. I can't do it, right? But that's kind of how in-person networking works, right? You have to show up and say, hey, I'm interested in getting to know you. I'd like to get to know more about your business. How can I help you? That's the other thing I say is go with a giving hand, right? If I show up and knock on your door and I'm like, hey, could you send me all your customers? You're gonna be like, what? Who the hell are you? And get the hell out of here, right? So you have to show up, bring a couple of Starbucks beverages and say, hey, I just want to get to learn more about your business. I'm new in town. I'd like to make more connections. I'm looking to build my network. And so you kind of have to be, you almost have to be that super cool person that shows up with like an unexpected gift, right? Like somebody's like, wait, Susan stopped by on Thursday and said she's going to buy the whole office coffee on Friday from, I'm just going to say Starbucks. I'm not a coffee person, but let's say there's a coffee shop in the strip mall, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to get your order and bring it in. Well, now you're already like, wow, she's pretty cool. Like I'll give her at least 5 minutes, right? And I'll at least give her the time of day, as opposed to, who are you and why are you here? So that's one strategy. The other, I think that's actually a little bit easier, is to find some of the networking groups, a Business Network International, a Chamber of Commerce meeting, a Rotary Club, where you can go and there's 20 or 30 people already in the room. And then you do what I call high target network marketing, right? Because we make the mistake of going to Rotary and thinking we want to talk to everybody. And you don't want to talk to everybody. You want to talk to about 3 or 4 people in the room. You want to get introduced to a couple of key people. If there's a high end, like as I started to get clients, I listened, right? Like when Bev told me I will only go get my hair done at Christina's with this particular person. Well, I went to Christina's with a $20 Starbucks gift card for that particular person and said, hey, how can I help you? What can we do? And it took time to build that relationship. But eventually, Christina's said to me, hey, what would you think about giving away a Miracles Fitness $100 gift card to everyone who buys 2 products or more, right? Like our special for they did it from Thanksgiving to Christmas was anybody who buys 2 products will get a $100 Miracles gift. I was like, I don't care if you give a $100 Miracles gift card to everyone who walks in the door, right? But they were using it as an incentive. Buy 2 products or more, you get $100 Miracles Fitness gift card. I was like, great, fantastic, right? So some of that just takes time. But I always found every client I listened to really starts to clue me in as to where when Bev said, I love shopping at Chico's and Bistro 501 is the only restaurant fit to eat, I was like, these are things I should be listening to. I mean, I would never have known anything about Chico's, right? My wife wasn't old enough to shop at Chico's. I didn't know what Chico's was. All of a sudden that's on my radar, right? So I go in there, start to build a relationship. I tell Bev to talk to the manager for me. Hey, let her know we'd love to, if she ever wants to train here. So you just keep working it. But I think part of it is you listen to your clients, right? Because your clients will sort of clue you in to the circles they're hanging out in. And then you figure out, how can I infiltrate, right? How can I get it? I think Bev was the one who put me onto the Ultimate Pink Party. Again, I'm a guy in his 30s. I'm not paying attention to breast cancer charity events. It's just not on my radar until I hear my female clients in their 50s and 60s say, this is the thing we're most passionate about. Okay, well then what do I have to do to sponsor that, to show up, to be there, right? Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah, it helps. I'm just constantly reminded I'm in a new place, everybody's new. So I don't have the bank of clients yet. I mean,
Right. And so you've got to do the hard work. You literally have to go knock on 50 doors. And usually what I tell people like you, Susan, is just put it on your calendar to go to, 2 times a week. You got to get out and go meet 3 to 5 people. And it's painful. It's not fun. Me personally, I absolutely hated it. I'm not an extrovert at nature. So while I'm confident, I don't like walking into hair salons to meet try to find the owner. And it's like, even physical therapists, I don't want to go meet them, or chiropractors, or, but you just got to go do it one after another. And they start to add up. And I tell people, if you pursue 5 physical therapists, 4 of them will probably have nothing to do with you, but that one will pay off. And it might not pay off for 6 months, but once it starts, it will keep trickling, right? It will keep dripping new clients. Chiropractors are probably better for us over the years. The unique one that I mentioned, I think during my talk, was my State Farm insurance agent. I was not expecting to get business from him, but over time, because we had a relationship, we were in a networking group together. So I saw him regularly. Over time, he got to realize what I did. Not only did he send both of my kids to train with me, he wound up sending older clients who were talking about falling in their home and, things like that. So, but you got to build those relationships.
Right.
It's hard when you're starting out, but that's where I say, put it on your calendar on Thursday from 10 to 11. I'm going to go do this painful thing of trying to meet 5 business owners. And you just keep plugging away at it every single week, because 6 months from now, it will be like, Susan knows 30 business owners, right? You got 30 different people you can reach out to. You could even create your own lunch and networking opportunity for people. You can connect people. So Jay, did you want to go next?
Well, I just wanted to kind of riff a little bit on something. I think you've covered the point, but something that Susan said, or you said, Dan, made me think of it, that I know when I was starting out on making these kinds of calls, and I still do them all the time because I have to, right? Just like you all do, that at some point I realized that I had been thinking of them in the wrong way. And I had been thinking of them as this sort of yes, no option. Like, every person I talk to is going to like me or hate me. They're going to buy from me or they're going to slam the door in my face. It's a win or it's a lose. Oh, I'm terrible at this. I should go home. Right. Well, at some point I just realized, hey, I'm putting myself out there. I'm letting people know I'm new in town, or I'm new in the business, or I'm new in the industry. And I just want you to know who I am. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And you're going to be seeing me around again. And this is not a one-time thing. You don't drop by once. Like Dan was saying, it takes months. And so you do it over and over again, not asking for something. You don't want to be that guy saying, hey, help me build my business, or you send me your clients, but just to let them know that you're part of the community now. And that takes time, but it also should be a pleasure, because most of the people I meet who own gyms or studios want to be part of their communities and they want to help people, and you all probably do. And so think of it like that. This is my way of creating a new community in my new place, Susan. All right, you're new to this town. You need to get out there and meet people. And it's not like, ooh, but more gardening, kind of just a pleasure. If you can think of it as a pleasure and not this win-lose proposition,
Yeah.
Right.
worked
Yeah.
for me.
And I think most might be generous, 60% being most, right? I think a lot of small business owners in general want other small business owners to win, right?
Yeah.
And so being connected to a lot of small business owners just helps everybody, right? Because you're not in competition with the chiropractor or the plumber or the HVAC company or the electrician. But you might all have similar clients. I mean, I have gotten referrals from electricians. I have gotten referrals from HVAC people. In fact, my HVAC guy at the club became a client, because he realized, "Oh, I'm in my 50s, I need to do something," so and he referred some people to us. So I think having relationships with other small business owners isn't as hard as we think. And at the end of the day, as small business owners, we all want each other to win. Small business ownership is not easy, and you don't need to go it alone. And fitness owners aren't the only ones guilty of it, right? I mean, I've had friends in the trades, and they only talk to each other, right? I mean, it's like you're an electrician, and the only other business owners are electricians and HVAC guys and architects. I mean, like, branch out a little bit, So, but again, finding some of those networking opportunities where you can meet chunks of people can help as well.
Hey, Dan, before you move on, I could see that some people wrote in the chat while we were talking, and I definitely want to take a look at them. Is there a way that, are we going to get this by any chance? I mean, that is not typically something you would record, but I want to make sure I don't lose this chat.
Yeah, I recorded the whole thing, and I am recording the chat file. I will post this recording. I'll have to figure out how to post the chat file, but I think I can do that as well. I certainly can email it to you if you want the chat file.
Okay, thanks. I mean, I'll try and read it now, but I want to listen.
All right, who wants to go next? Yeah, I love what Rocky's saying. I think it's great if you can be sending, which is one reason why you want to meet massage therapists, chiropractors, some of these others. You want to be sending your clients to these people, right? You want to be a solution provider, resource provider. It's great. I mean, when I owned Miracles Fitness, I assume you all know I sold it last year, but when I owned Miracles Fitness, it was sure nice when an 80-year-old widow came to me and she's like, I don't know who to trust. I know I need a HVAC person, and I don't want to get taken advantage of. And I'm like, oh, you can absolutely trust Mecco's. I know he will take care of you just like he would take care of my mom. And if for whatever reason he doesn't, let me know, because I will beat him up for you, right? I mean, like, we're good friends. So I knew I could trust, and that was a huge value for her, right? Because she was like, I don't know an HVAC, like, I don't know who to trust. So having connections for massage therapy, chiropractic, physical therapy, all those things, you become a solution provider for your clients. So Rocky, did you want to go next?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah,
There he is.
just to piggyback on top of that, one thing that we do in regards to social media is on Facebook, because we are addressing an aging population. 50 and older is our typical clientele. We've got Community Friday. And what we do is we either take a snapshot or we go into a business and just promote them. We tell our followers, hey, here's the restaurant that we really like to go to after our workouts. This is the chiropractor that we really enjoy. Although there's many in the community, this is one that a lot of people have found success. If you're looking for a good massage therapist, here's where we refer a lot of people to. And so it appears on our social media, and in return, you're promoting somebody else without asking anything in return, and they start to follow you. They share these posts with others, and before you know, it's branched out. So, but for me, my question is this: I have been a personal trainer for 30 years, officially certified. This month marks 30 years, actually, and I received the burnout phase simultaneously leading up to COVID. Unfortunately, things didn't really go the way that I was intending, which the intention was to extract myself from the daily operations of our brick and mortar studio and have my staff of trainers take it on, still seeing like me there in as an integral part, but pulling away from the hour to hour appointments so that I could focus on becoming the trainer's trainer, the educator, the developing content for online courses, presenting to organizations and conferences and so on. During COVID, we lost all of our staff slowly over the course of time, like David's explaining he's going through. And at one point in time, it was just me for about 6 to 8 weeks, all classes, Monday through Saturday, all appointments. It was just the antithesis of where I was trying to go. Fortunately, over the course of the last couple of years, we've built up a valuable, effective staff. And now I'm back at that point where I'm looking to launch product over service. Because with service, there's a salary cap. No matter how many staff members, there's only so many hours a day, and there's only so much you can people can afford for your services. So products, meanwhile, are completely different, and provided that they speak the same language I'm speaking right now, the territory goes from a 5-mile radius to internationally. So I am finding it challenging to make that transition. Not so much in my calendar day to day. I think I have gotten a good handle on that. But after 30 years of developing a major network in the community that I'm in a way, I have to do that once more, but on a larger spectrum.
Yep.
And one thing that holds true is the email campaign. It's been something that's just been gnawing at me, that I have to make a regular habit, just like blog writing, video production, and so on. But what other things will it take less than 10 years to be an overnight success? How can I condense that saying down to, say, like 18 months? I don't want to be greedy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there is the reality of you can't be a 10-year overnight success, right? Which is what we all want. But so I would recommend. Have you read Hour a Day Entrepreneur?
No.
Okay, so I would recommend that book for you. I think it's a great book for probably anyone on this call, but Hour a Day Entrepreneur is the principles that we built Functional Aging Institute on. So not many people are aware of this, but we built Functional Aging Institute into a large company. We've certified trainers in 34 countries. I think Cody and I have traveled to about 15 countries. We're in 49 out of 50 states. Anybody on here from Wyoming? Still looking for that Wyoming trainer. We did that, Rocky, in about an hour a day. And so when we used to have, like, the third year, we would have people call in and go, why are we not getting a response? I'm like, because Celia's off this week and I only work an hour a day on FAI. They're like, well, what about the rest of your staff? That's it. There is no rest of the staff. Like, what are you talking about? People thought we were a lot bigger than we were. Cody might work 0 hours a week and I might work an hour a day. So anyway, Hour a Day Entrepreneur taught me the principles of you can build a company in an hour a day. So if you can carve out an hour a day from your current company, which I had to do because I'm knee deep in Miracles Fitness, running a studio. Cody's a full-time professor. How do I carve away an hour a day and build a company? And once you start to build it and the revenues start to come, then obviously you can carve away more hours and you can step out of your studio because now you can step into your new business, which is making more money. And at some point you have the hard conversation with yourself of, why am I doing this fitness studio business when I'm making 10 times the money over here? Or even 2 times the money. You're like, well, wait a minute, why am I spending time over here? I could just hire someone to replace me, and then I could go over here. So I would recommend that book. To the speed aspect, Rocky, I think is really, honestly, it's connections, it's networking, and it's building a list fast, and then it's avatar, right? Like when you talk product, are you talking a fitness education product? You talking a physical product for a trainer? Obviously, there's lots of different products for the fitness world, and then obviously the avatars are very different. I've been largely unsuccessful in the fitness product world. I've tried a couple different things, haven't been successful at it. We have been successful at the fitness education product. And we built a big list over the last 10 years for that. I mean, that's how all you guys got on this meeting here even tonight. This is a small segment of that bigger FAI list. So to get there faster, I think you're going to have to do a lot of the networking, right? You're going to have to start applying to speak at all the different conferences that aren't going to pay you, right? The Fitness Fest, the Idea Worlds, the DCACs, the regional conferences, the NSCA conferences, you're going to have to get out there. And Cody and I did all that before we launched FAI. So when we launched FAI, people already knew us from the speaking circuit, and we knew a lot of people. So that really helped, because then we could leverage all of those connections. Because the old phrase of your net worth is very much based on your network. Well, that's very true in the fitness industry. Unfortunately, a lot of people in the fitness industry don't have a lot of net worth, right? There's not necessarily a lot of wealth, but it's sort of a numbers game, right? If you have enough connections and enough, we're connected to Dr. Emily Splickle, and she's got a nice company, Evidence-Based Fitness Academy, and she'll promote our stuff, and she might sell 20 courses. And then we got Dr. Evan Osar, who I'm having on tonight, and he's got several thousand trainers in his network. And, you start making those connections, and pretty soon you're like, I'm connected in network to 20 different experts in the fitness industry, each of whom are reaching 10,000 people. Now, all of a sudden, you have 200,000 people you can reach. And that gets you to where you want to get to a whole lot faster than you trying to do it one person at a time over the next 10 years. In fact, it gets you there a lot faster, right? Start getting on podcasts and webinars for different people where you can get in front of, the beauty of webinars and podcasts is you can get in front of hundreds of people, pretty quickly. Like, have you been on Jay Croft's podcast? Probably should be, right? You'd be a good guest on his podcast, right? And that's going to get you in front of, I don't know, 100 to 150 fitness owners. Jay, what's an average episode getting in terms of downloads these days?
It gets a couple hundred in the first week, and then a few more trickles after that. The numbers are not huge, but my audience is entirely focused on people like you in the over 50 fitness space. I'm not going for anybody broader than that. So,
but anytime you can spend an hour and get in front of 200 people, and you don't have to travel, right? I mean, because that is a mistake I see some people make, is they're like, well, I'm going to speak at every fitness conference, and a year later they're like, I think I spoke to 300 people, because you speak to about 30 or 50 at each fitness conference. Like, I did 10 fitness conferences, 10 trips, spent thousands of dollars flying around. You probably could have done 3 podcasts and reached just as many people. So leverage the power of podcasts and webinars.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I mean, you've been on my podcast, or one of the podcasts that I have, and it's doing quite well. And be speaking at the national conference, the NSCA, and want to perform better as speakers. So I've got all those lined up. Just kind of, I guess I'm looking for the little nuggets, if there are some things, and one of them is this book. So I appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And happy to get on a private call with you, Rocky, because I probably need to know more about what you want to do, right? Like, what's the product, what's the company, what's the direction, who's your avatar, that sort of thing. Because there's no reason to go speak at fitness conferences if you're selling a fitness product tool necessarily, right? So it depends on what you really want to do. So again, happy to hop on a private call with you. So anybody else? We got about 12 minutes left. We can probably take 2 more people here. Mark, Joe, Anne Marie, Bernadette, did anybody type in the chat too? Let me just check. I didn't see anybody put a specific question there.
Dan, if nobody else is going to jump in, I just will say that, Rocky, I would like to talk to you about some of the things I heard you discuss. And anybody else who's listening who wants to hop on a call and talk about your communications or your content or your marketing, promise not to give you a big sales call. My roots go way back with Dan and FAI. So this is a friendly thing, and I want to help you if I can. So reach out to me on Facebook or shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat for everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, if you're someone who's like, look, if you're someone on here and you're like, well, I email with my list once a month. I probably didn't pound that home during the presentation today, but that's just not enough, right? Like once a month basically means people are seeing your emails about 4 to 5 times a year, because I know your open rate is not 100%, which tells me you don't care about the people on your list, which I don't think is true. I think you do care about the people on your list. You're probably doing it backwards. You're thinking, oh, I don't want them to unsubscribe, or I don't want them to not like me, or I don't know, I don't have the time to send them something, more than once a month. Once a month just doesn't cut it. It has to be at minimum once a week, and it probably should be honestly 2 times a week. Once a week could be a client success story. Once a week could be a simple, recipe with some content. Again, this is where hiring someone like Jay to just kind of help you in terms of, hey, now I've got tons of done for you content, great material to send out, good email copy, recipes, all those sorts of things. So, again, you got to be emailing your list regularly. I think of it this way: if you have an email list of 100 people, you're just getting started. But if you have an email list of 100 people and you have 10 clients, that's 90 people that you could be helping, that you're choosing not to help because you're afraid to email them. Like for some reason, you don't want to get out of your own way and help those 90 people. So change your thinking, change your philosophy to it. There are 90 people out there that need my help that happen to be on my email list. So what could you email them that's helpful, compassionate, kind, generous, tell a great story, share some client insights, right? All of those sorts of things. There are just so many ways. Literally just ask them, hey, is there something I can do to help you? Tell them a story about a client who you just solved their knee pain. Share that with them and then say, hey, if you have knee pain, I'd love to help you. There are people on your email list that are going to bed tonight with some sort of a problem that you can solve. So email them more often so they know you're the solution. Anybody else want to share? Anybody have a challenge or question or something I could solve here in the last 8 minutes we've got together? If so, unmute and just chime in. Otherwise, I'm going to share with you guys an upcoming opportunity. I really I enjoyed doing this on Friday. Again, enjoyed doing this tonight. I really like helping business owners grow their business. David, I'm excited for you guys to get to 700 grand a year. We've got a staffing challenge. It sounds like a little bump we might have to get through, but that's going to happen. We can get through it. So our next live in-person meeting, which is 2 days of what we did here tonight, so we got a lot more time, is in Reston, Virginia. It's about 10 minutes from Dulles Airport, right in the DC suburbs. So if you've never been to the nation's capital and it's on your list, you can easily spend some time touring all the monuments. And I've been several times. That you can see the Hyatt here in Reston, Virginia. It's probably 25 minutes from the National Mall. So you certainly could spend some time there if you wanted. So this 2-day opportunity, again, it's August 3rd and 4th. Anybody is welcome. You guys are all invited. Love to have you there. It's $5.99, I believe, what we're charging for the 2 days. The bonus here that we're offering is you're going to get 2 months of coaching. So either June or July or August, whichever 2 months you want. I think most people are choosing July and August, just timing wise. So we'll do some private coaching July and August on top of the 2-day event. So I'll put this link in the chat as well. And if you're on here and you're like, well, I don't really own a studio, that's okay. We've had people come to these that don't own a studio. We've had people join our mastermind that don't own a studio. Jay Croft was in our mastermind, doesn't own a studio. Beth does not own a studio. She was doing about $3,000 a month, and she's like, well, maybe I'll get to where I can open a studio. She got to about $11,000 a month, and then she was like, I don't think I want to open a studio. I'm doing really well without a studio. I said, yeah, you're doing just fine. She's sitting next to a studio owner at one of these mastermind meetings who's doing 20,000 a month. And he's like, you're actually making way more money than me because you don't have a studio. And so now she's hiring and continuing to grow her business without being a studio owner. She's actually in the DC area. She's in Arlington, Virginia. So yeah, no, Nicole, I don't think you own a studio. Susan, I don't think you own a studio. I'm guessing there JC does not own a studio. I'm guessing there are several of you on here that don't own studios, and that's fine. That 2-day, we just had one in Phoenix, and of the attendees, Karen didn't own a studio. I think there were 2. Nicole didn't own a studio. There might have been a third. No, there were at least 3 that didn't own studios. So we have people doing virtual, we have people doing hybrid. In fact, one of our attendees was kind of like you, Nicole, not really in the fitness space. He was actually more in corporate wellness. He was looking for corporation connections. They come in and do wellness screening, and then they will offer fitness service if you want it. But their main focus is we want companies that have 5,000 employees or more. So wasn't sort of our typical mastermind attendee, but was pretty interesting for the whole group. So Katie, yeah, you don't have a studio either. That's great. Virtual business has taken off since COVID. Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. And that 2-day mastermind would totally help you. We had a couple of virtual folks at the last one. I think some people have realized, hey, if I can make $10,000-$12,000 a month doing it virtually, and my staff is, in some cases, you don't even have to have a staff, or maybe you do have a staff, but you don't have the overhead and the frustration of rent and brick and mortar and some of those things. So that's great. Any questions from anybody? Last chance. So I will post the replay in the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, we need to get you in the Facebook group so you can see the replay, so you can comment if you have any other questions or you wanted to watch the replay. Obviously, you were on live, so you might not want to watch this again, which is fine. But I'd love for you guys to be in the free Facebook group, because then you can post challenges, questions, ideas. Hey, this is working, this is not working, those sorts of things. So anybody have anything, huge success story they want to share? The group on Friday was way more talkative. You guys are probably distracted tonight because you're like making dinner or you're doing something else. Or you're like, what's for dinner? It's almost 8 o'clock.
Or stay holiday weekend.
Yeah, right. It was the longest. I said to my wife, that was the longest 3-day weekend of my life. Because it started on Thursday and I'm not sure it's ended yet, right? It's like my daughter graduated high school Friday night. Her graduation party was Saturday. So the grandparents came in Thursday. So we had, and my son flew in from New York on Thursday. So I went to the airport Thursday. So it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then it was like, wait a minute, we still got Sunday and Monday to go. 5 days later, I was like, can I go back to work? All right, well, I'm going to let you guys go. Look, if you need help, you've got my email. If you're curious in that DC event in Virginia and you got questions, let me know. We do still offer mastermind coaching for $2.99 a month. And sometimes people are like, well, why would I pay $2.99 a month? What do I get for it? There have been very few people over the years that have not benefited from our mastermind. And almost every time the people that have not have usually been people that simply haven't done what we coach them to do, right? Like Katie, if you join our mastermind program at $2.99 a month, I'm 100% confident I can grow your business $3,000 a month. Like it's a 10 times return. Now, I'm also 100% confident it won't grow at all if you do nothing of what I coach you to do, right? And that's kind of been what we've seen over the years. People that join our coaching program, if they listen to us, JC's commenting, mastermind's worth every penny. If they listen to us, their business grows, and it grows pretty dramatically. And then when you've had enough growth and you're like, I don't want my business to grow anymore, then you quit. I've learned all I need to. But if you don't do anything we tell you, I still remember Brian, oh, I can't afford it, I'm not ready. Oh, I can't afford it, I'm not ready. I can't afford it, I'm not ready. If I could just get to $12,000 a month, then I was like, Brian, we'll get you to $12,000 a month in the first 6 weeks. He finally got to $12,000 a month and he joined. And in like 3 months, we got him to $22,000 a month, right? And then he was kicking himself because he's like, I totally should have done this 2 years ago. I'm like, yeah, you totally should have, right? I mean, like, I don't know why you waited 2 years to finally, I mean, there were just 2 or 3 things he needed to unlock in his business that we saw pretty quickly. It was like, hey, just do this, stop doing that, because that's a waste of your time. Do more of this, add this. Katie, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my biggest stuck is, and I'd be curious if it would be worthwhile to do this, is, you know, I work full time for a fitness facility. I run the active agers program there. And then since COVID, I work about 20 hours on the side. I teach nationally virtually, and that's where I pull a lot of clients in from. And have started some virtual programs and things of that sort. So I work about 20 hours and write curriculum and things like that. So it's kind of like, now my point is I'm working 60 hours a week and just I'm afraid to make that break from my full-time job with benefits. And
how much is the full-time job paying you?
Well, see, I'm making about the same amount doing 20, you know, I might be making like 70 grand with the full-time job, but I'm making pretty much, you know, the same amount of money working half the time.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of making that jump and doing that. And the other piece is the full-time job. I pull a huge clientele in from that. I mean, and I can use the resources for marketing and things of that sort. So I'm afraid to break that tie, but then I really enjoy having the creativity and the ability to design my programs. And, you know, I haven't even made a website because I can't settle on a name for my business.
Well,
so
you don't even need to, because you're too busy, right? Like you already have more business than you need. So I don't know you, Katie, but just from like the minute I heard you talk, I know you know what you need to do. Like I can tell you already know you need to quit your full-time job because you have a bigger opportunity somewhere else. And like you said, I'm not even being as creative as I could. I'm not even doing all the things I could do with it. You haven't even come close to untapping its potential through website, all the sort of stuff. So you probably know what you need to do. You know, and I don't think it's sustainable or a great idea for you to be working 60 hours a week long term. Especially if you could be working 35 and making more money.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like, wait a minute, like if you quit this job and just spend 15 more hours over here, you're in those 15 hours, you'll replace the other 40. My guess is you already know what you need to do. And then the question is, and that's where I would love to come in to help alongside you, to give you the confidence to transition. Like, how do we transition that? At what point do we pull the plug? When do I give notice? How many things do I need to put in place? Because you probably need a certain amount of more revenue in that part-time job to say, hey, now I can replace my benefits and I can be secure. And so yeah, I mean, you definitely know what you need to do. And now it's just taking the steps to do it and do it well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, follow up if you want help. I'd be happy to help you. Hop on a coaching call, whatever it is you need. So this has been great, guys. We'll do more of these. So be watching for that. The summit is coming up June 16th and 17th. So probably won't do more of these till after that. So the latter weeks of June, and then we'll probably do some more in July, because I really enjoy doing this. But then obviously, if you know you want to come to the DC event, you get 2 months of coaching included. So just let me know, email us if you have questions. So thanks everyone. If you're going to be on Evan Osar's webinar here in a couple minutes, obviously it's a different link. I will see you there. So see everybody. Have a good night.
Very much.
Yep. Thanks for joining.